3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? You're watching Ash on Comics. My name is Ash. You know what today is. That's right. It's New Comic Book Day, which means it's Ash Wednesday. Joining me, as always, is Stan the Man and the channel sidekick Forky. And I've got a delicious In-N-Out double-double that I'm going to be eating here in just a second. So if you don't have In-N-Out near you, I'm really sorry to hear that. I went 17 years with In-N-Out, and it sucked. But now I get it, and I get it every Wednesday. I make a ritual of my New Comic Book Day. That's what this is all about. I do a video, for those of you who are new to the channel, where I just show the comics I pulled. And sometimes I talk about things that are going on that's just on top of my mind. And overall, the whole point of this is to sort of be a podcast type of thing. I encourage you to watch if you want, but you can just put the phone down, listen to it while you're at work, while you're driving, while you're taking a shower, while you're using the restroom to do other things. Whether you're doing housework, all sorts of things that you can possibly do. Anyways, I wanted to get this started because my burger is here, and I want to unbox it. Let's see what we got here. Every week I usually get the same thing. There's a couple of variations of the burger that I get. Today I got one of those variations, and let's see what happens. When they lay it down, sometimes things slide around. Oh, so this one is the animal style, and you have the patty slit a little bit. If you're not familiar with animal style, it's what people call the secret menu. It's not so secret anymore. It's basically a double-double with grilled onions, and then extra spread, and then you add fried mustard, which means they fry the patties in mustard, and then that adds pickles to it. And that's what that is, and they just call it animal style. It's been on the secret menu, if you will, for umpteen years, and it's a big popular between In-N-Out fans, and I decided I was going to go with that today, mix it up a little bit. I'm going to eat this, make those guys watch. Oh, Forky apparently doesn't want to watch, but we'll get right to it, and we'll get back to talking comics. All right, thank you very much for indulging me on my In-N-Out burger. Hopefully, if you guys don't have In-N-Out near you, you have a local establishment that you're really fond of that you get to eat at regularly. I encourage you, if you're a fan of comics and you do the weekly ritual like I do, or maybe you don't even do it every week, maybe you do it every other week, maybe you do it once a month. If you do that ritual and you go to your books, make it fun, make it an event. Comics, you buy these comics and they're not cheap. I get it, because you are passionate about them, you enjoy them. Otherwise, you wouldn't be spending money on them. You'd be in a different hobby. And sometimes, you can be tough because you're not getting what you want. Sometimes I know there's sometimes I go through where I'm just like, man, all these books, they just suck. Sometimes you got to ride out the bad, runs. If you're collecting a comic for a long time, even back in the day when I was buying X-Men as a kid, that's my favorite run of all time. But there were times where Claremont was not on his A game, and he was just kind of putting out to me at least, it was kind of a boring part of the story. I was like, oh, okay. I got a little bit tired, I got to admit, when the mutants went out to Australia. They spent a little bit too long there. And I was like, okay, can we move on? But you ride it out, and then you get highs and lows, and that's just part of the nature of being in comics, especially when it's ongoing comics. A miniseries should have no excuse. A miniseries, if it's usually 6 issues, should be tight from beginning to end because it's just a solid story. But ongoing comics is it's like a soap opera, just not every issue is going to be a home run. Anyway, I'm getting off into the weeds again like I normally do, but hopefully you can just keep the enthusiasm, build that up. Hopefully you have a store that you got people that work there that you can talk to, other fans, and just make an event so you're always looking forward to that Wednesday. Before we go on to other things, I wanted to get a word from our sponsors. I'm just kidding, I don't have any sponsors, but I do have a comic book recommend. I'm a huge fan of Ascender. I did a video a while back where it was why basically advocating for Ascender. I don't do reviews on this book because I don't want to spoil things. Ongoing comic books, I don't feel so bad spoiling because there's always a new story around the corner. right? If the current arc, if I spoil something or whatever, it's kind of a bummer you missed out on that. But the nature of it is this indefinite story. There's never ending. And so it's just going to be more stuff. Ascender is more like a movie, right? There's a finite story here. You have one singular experience through the run. I don't want to ruin it for people. So I try not to. That's why I don't review the book. But it is one of my favorite books. Quite honestly, it's the one I look forward to. It's like, oh, it's coming out. And I just want to advocate again for the book. And I want to point out here, $3.99 on Comixology. You get the first run for 6 issues, or no, first 5 issues. The first arc, which is all really one giant arc, but I guess if you call this like the first chapter. And this will really let you know whether the book's for you or not. If you get through the first 5 issues and you're like, I'm just bored, I don't want to read anymore. Okay, you tried. But for $3.99, that's the price of a singular comic book here. I pay $3.99 every issue for it. So I can't recommend this enough. I think you're going to fall in love with the art, even though this particular cover doesn't scream like it's something for me. Like, on paper, when I first see this, I go, oh, look, it's a little girl and she's looking in the clouds. And it's like, this is a very girly cover. And I don't mean I'm trying to sound like a sexist or misogynist or whatever, but boys and girls think differently. We're attracted to different things. This is not something that normally I would go, oh, yeah, this looks cool. But the book is really cool. So I just wanted to point that out. And now, moving on to something else. I picked this up about a week ago, and I needed to draw your attention to this because it is a phenomenal deal. I don't know if you've heard of Humble Bundle, but Humble Bundle is it's a charity site. What they do is they sell video games and software where you basically dictate your own price, and then proceeds go to charity. And so basically, I guess how it works is companies will donate stuff as a charitable thing to Humble Bundle, so Humble Bundle can then sell it and raise money. So I guess it's a tax write-off for the companies that do it. I don't know exactly how it all works, but something along those lines. And then Humble Bundle sells it, and they do every month. There's new bundles, and it used to be just like, here's some bunch of video games, and you name your price. But now they're delving off into other things like comic books. And I've missed some really good Humble Bundle comic books bundles before because I don't pay attention every month because I don't. Anyways, but this one you need to, and I got it. It's Bloodshot 2020. Of course, the movie's coming out, so it makes sense. Pay $1 or more, so it's $414 worth of stuff by cover price. That's how much the cover. Pay $1 or more, DRM free, multi-format. Okay, you have less than 10 days left. For the first tier, you have to pay at least $1. You can pay as much as you want, right? So if you have the money, throw some extra bucks in for the charity if that's your bag. But for the first $1, you get nine trade paperbacks for $1. Okay, that's like what, 11 cents a piece? There is no reason not to get this. Now, this Bloodshot Volume 1 was featured on the short-lived Ash and Bats show. We talked about this. This is a great book. I highly, highly recommend you read this trade paperback, if nothing else, to decide whether or not Bloodshot's for you. Either if you're a Bloodshot fan, you already know. I don't need to sell to you. I'm talking to the people who hang out, Bloodshot, I've seen him around, I don't know. Read this one right here, Setting the World on Fire by Dwayne Swarzynski. And you will know if Bloodshot is for you. It sold me. I was hooked. I was like, yep, this is badass. This is comics. This is why Valiant in 2012 through 2017 was the best publisher in the business, according to me. Also, according to my boy Wes over at Thinking Critical. Here you get the entire run. 6 trade paperbacks were for that original run. You also get Harbinger Volume 1, Harbinger Wars Volume 1, Archer and Armstrong Volume 5. I'm assuming because Bloodshot's crossing over in that. Now, if you want to pay a little bit more, if you pay $8 or more, in addition to those, you also get the Jeff Lemire run, Bloodshot Reborn. I have not read this myself. I will be because I picked all these up. So it's 4 volumes plus Bloodshot USA. You also get Ninjak Weaponeer, Volume 1. This was also featured on the Ashland Batch Show. This is by Matt Kint, one of the best writers in the business, and Clayman. Yes, Clayman was doing Valiant before he was doing DC because Valiant was better. You also get The Valiant by Jeff Lemire, Matt Kint. I have not read that. Ninjak, by the way, is badass. It's like if you mix James Bond and Batman together and made him a ninja, that's what Ninjak is. It's a Ninja K, actually, but whatever. We're mincing words. Armor Hunters. Then you get Armor Hunters Bloodshot. Look at Robert Venditti and Doug Braithwaite for Armor Hunters. I've heard nothing but amazing things. For $8, now for $8, you're getting 9 more. So 18 trade paperbacks for $8. But wait, there's more. If you pay $15 or more, you can donate. Remember, you pay over for charity. So if you want to pay a minimum $15, you will also unlock the entire Bloodshot Salvation line, which is Jeff Lemire. You also get the first volume of Exo Manowar by Matt Kint and Thomas Giarello, which is phenomenal. I've talked about this book. You will be amazed. You'll look at this book and be like, how can a small little indie company put out a comic of this quality? And get Ninjak for, more Bloodshot, Book of Death, both 4001 AD books, including the one that Wes highly recommends, was Matt Kint and Clayton Crane, Harbinger Wars 2. So 29 trade paperbacks for $15. 50 cents a piece, approximately. You're getting a wealth of content, and this isn't just mediocre content. I'm not trying to shill out to you just mediocre content. They're books that are just whatever. They're worth 50 cents. No, this is shit you should pay full price for. It's that good. There's no excuse here. Sell blood, check your couch cushions, go collect pop cans, get these books, and don't miss out on this. This is ridiculous. So I just had to make sure everyone that watches my channel was aware of this deal. I love finding good deals and I love sharing them. And let's move on. Moving on. Have you guys seen what they did to the Batmobile? What the hell? Matt Reeves tweeted this out today. Now, it's equal parts cool and cringe at the same time, I think. I think the car itself looks really cool if it were in like a Mad Max film. I think maybe this would be also semi-cool if it were a Batman Year One before he actually put together the real Batmobile. Maybe they are doing something like that, but it doesn't seem like that from what I'm seeing. The car does look cool, and then until you realize it's the Batmobile, and then you're like, oh, it's okay. So anyways, tell me what you think about this. I'm curious. There's my tweet. But the thing I'm really out here on Twitter for is I want to talk about today this thing here. I tweeted out in response, Tess Fowler, who blocks me. By the way, all you SJW comics pros, you block people on Twitter, it doesn't work because we all have multiple Twitter accounts. You block my main Twitter account, but I can still read everything you're saying. It doesn't hide anything. It could still, all you're doing is just pissing people off. But you know that. You're not actually trying to stop me from harassing you, because I don't harass you. I don't say anything to you except now when you instigate like this, I leave you alone. So there's no reason to block me. You do it to control your narrative and so that you can have your little Twitter feed and that there's no naysayers. No one ever contradicts all the lies and the bullshit and the drama that you're constantly spreading. That's what you're blocking for, because you want everyone to respond. When you say something, everyone responds and goes, yeah, yeah. By the way, if you want to go look at Tess Fowler's tweet here, you will go see a bunch of sycophants who are all just like, yeah. So what's going on, Ash? I'm getting ahead of the thing. Tess Fowler tweets out, today in comics, apparently, a known Batman writer, Sean Gordon Murphy, for those not informed, who supports bigots in a hate movement, as well as supports that hate movement's apologists, has a new imprint at DC and is hiring bigots? Lol. I told y'all in fucking 2017 dude was a problem, but ooh, he makes Batman comics. So Sean Gordon Murphy is one of the best things in modern comics. I've been a big proponent of his, as you've been following the channel, you know. And even when he said a couple of weird things and Comicsgate flipped out, because, look, this drama goes on both sides, right? You got the SJWs, and then you've got the pseudo-SJWs over in Comicsgate. And everyone just wants to be, it's all outrage culture, whatever side you're on. So when Sean said a few questionable things like a year ago, that everyone flipped, oh, Sean Gordon Murphy is one of those SJWs, blah, blah, blah. So you can't really win for trying in this weird, this is why outrage culture sucks. Because no matter what you do, there's a group that's totally pissed off and totally flips their shit. Sean Gordon Murphy hasn't done anything wrong. He's making great comics. He's trying really hard. He's being professional. He is trying to find good talent and rewarding merit. And people like Tess Fowler can't stand it. Now, when he was getting his shit on by Comicsgate, I'm sure Tess Fowler was like, yeah, you evil Comicsgate talking shit about, you know, Sean Gordon Murphy. But now that Sean Gordon Murphy has committed the cardinal sin of drawing a cover of a graphic novel by Doug TenNapel, Bigfoot Bill 2, Sean Gordon Murphy did the cover for it. He is now needs to be canceled. And that's what this tweet is about. So, Comicsgate is dead because Comicsgate killed it. It was taken over by the cash grabbers. CG now stands for cash grab, by the way. But the idea is still alive. The idea of outraged fans, of upset fans losing their hobby, their industry to these woke SJWs who don't really care about comics. They just want to spoil everything. People like Tess Fowler, she's nothing but sour grapes and envy. She can't get any mainstream career jobs. Sean Gordon Murphy is the big star, so she just nips at his heels, you know, like a little rabid, you know, what Chihuahua, you know, like, and you know, what did Sean do? Nothing. He drew a cover. Oh, and he announced he got an imprint from DC. He tweeted out, hey, the Murphyverse is real. He's hiring some people like female Blake Northcott and African-American Brian Hill because he's such a bigot. It's like, you can't win. I like Sean Gordon Murphy. He says some weird things. I think the guy's a liberal. Doesn't quite fit my ideology, but who cares? I don't care about that. I only care what you throw in my face. And Sean Gordon Murphy doesn't throw his shit in my face. What he does is says, I'm trying to make kick-ass comics. Here, let me present them to you. Would you like to buy them? And I say, yes, Sean, I very much will. In fact, I'll buy 2, and that's what I'm doing because your book is so good. Tess Fowler, on the other hand, is going, I don't know what the hell I do. I'm working on a COGN. What the hell is that? No one knows. But would you like? She's not even asking me to buy it. She just wants to peddle this ugly envy and cancel culture. So I put it here. You know, seriously, all Sean did to earn this cancel culture smear was take a job drawing covers. Why I explained. His biggest sin is being a white man. Ash, you should do a video on this because I don't think Richie will, says Dave Asanowicz. Dave, thanks for watching on the channel. Eric Breen says, who is Tess Fowler? We get a war campaign guy coming. She's not really a comic book talent, but she pretends to be one on Twitter. Bowtie ZR Cool says, who even is this woman? What has she done? No one knows. Cancel culture is evil. SJWs fear the talented. If there's any justice in the world, talent will replace SJWs. To which I responded, they don't fear talent. SJWs, they don't fear talent. What they hate is not controlling the narrative. Art, media, actually more importantly, is the narrative. They need to push their culture. And the way that they push their culture is through things like the media. That's how culture is shaped by media. They must 100% control it because what they fear is a war of ideas. They know that their ideas won't hold up. Everyone else, well, people like me, I don't care. I happily will put my ideas out there. I'm not ashamed of it. I know my ideas are right, or at least I'm very confident that they're right. And I'm willing to argue them, and I'm willing to put out there and possibly be wrong and be converted. But I don't need to silence everyone else because I'm so afraid of being converted, and that's what the progressive left does. I said talent gets heard, and if that talent isn't controlled, it must be destroyed. Sean Gordon Murphy was perfectly accepted until he showed cracks of possible dissension, and now he must be canceled. Because that's what that side does. If you are not with them 100%, to the gulag. So Mr. Batman says Tess Fowler is a horrible person. Alalmi, I don't know how you pronounce that, is just quoting that I told y'all in 2017 it was a problem. He's laughing. Unsuccessful pro tweets about successful pro getting amazing opportunities. Jealous much? Yeah, you see, so I just wanted to talk about this mostly for my own purposes. I just wanted to vent. For those of you that aren't on Twitter and don't follow the drama, I guess good for you. I typically don't either, but I really like Sean Gordon Murphy, and he's not a flag-waving, Comicsgate guy who's just like, I'm trying to make comics. And he's been nothing but professional. He's often even sided with these lefty creators a lot, but it's never good enough. And as soon as he tries to steer his own way, boom, they're trying to cancel him. And this is just the evil shit. And I think 2020 might see an aftershock, if you will. If 2016 and 2017 was like the original earthquake that shook the industry, and Comicsgate rose up, and if all that, and it's kind of quelled since, right? Because Marvel and DC instituted some social media policies, and they quieted things down, and it's been like a low simmer since like in 2019. But I think now with Comicsgate kind of falling apart and everything, I think it's like, oh, no one's watching. Let's ride, and they're going to push the envelope and test the waters. And especially these ones like Tess Fowler, who can't get it back into the mainstream. I think you're going to see a lot of noise from these individuals who just like, well, I have nothing to lose anymore. If Marvel or DC are never going to hire me, now I can just go off at the mouth. They have no restrictions. So we'll see how that goes. Tell me what you think about all this nonsense. Let's stop with the drama, and we'll get back into comics. Okay, this week, I was fortunate enough, my good buddy was kind of purging some of the comics in his collection. He was going to sell off some stuff, take it down to SoCal Comics, and just, see what he could get. It wasn't anything really valuable, but, hey, he traded in, get some deals, and go rummage through the dollar boxes and get some new comics. It's not a bad way to go. But he's like, hey, you want to come over and see if there's anything you want? And I was like, free comics? Yeah, hell yeah. So he's been a good friend for 20 years, and I guess it's good to have friends. So I got some interesting back issues that I think maybe Breen will be interested, because he loves back issues, right? So first thing he offered was Voodoo, which was a spin-off series from Wildcats. I'm a Wildcats whore, Jim Lee. I love the Wildstorm universe. It's a shame that DC is not doing anything with this. Wow. But yeah. Anyway, so Voodoo was one of the Wildcats. This is a solo miniseries by Alan Moore, no less. And I was like, what? I never picked this up originally. But yeah, look at it. That's a little bit of provocative cover. Adam Hughes, who's, of course, a great pinup artist for Babes. This one as well. I do like Adam Hughes pinup art. Unfortunately, the first issue is not the Adam Hughes cover, but what are you going to do? And then finally, issue 4. So we got 4 issues of Voodoo here for free. So I'm looking forward to checking this out. It's Alan Moore. You can't really go too wrong, I suppose. And otherwise, I don't know anything about it other than it's Wildcats, and I like that. So also, he had this was great. This is hard to find. The free comic book day edition of Exo Manowar. This is actually an original story featuring Bloodshot Salvation, but it's hard to find without the store. I don't know why stores, they're supposed to put their store stamp here. It's like their address, but you went to the store to get the book. You know where their dumb address is. So finding a copy that didn't have this, that was like less than $5, was hard to do. So we had one. I was like, oh yeah, So it's basically issue 0 to this whole run. So now I've got the whole run. I also got the Wonder Woman issue free comic book day that was from Rebirth. It's Greg Rucka. What are you going to do? Also, he had the Blackest Night issue 0. So I don't actually have this. Oh, I do have the trade paperback. But I was like, this would be a series to get sometime. So issue 0. And then he also had, I thought this was kind of interesting. He had the, what is it called? Before Watchmen. Now, I know that this series didn't do great. Like, DC put some big name talent on. You can see J. Michael Straczynski, Andy and Joe Kubert on the art duties. Like, DC tried here, right? Like, they were like, we're not going to do this Watchmen shitty. It still didn't wash out right. I don't know anyone that's like, yeah, that was great. It was just like people go, which is kind of strange. Maybe it just didn't have enough direction. Maybe editorial is a problem. Because all the series were done by different people, and maybe that was an issue too. So Comedian was done by Brian Azzarello, and J.G. Jones I'm not familiar with. So he had those issues, both number ones. I'm not going to say no. I would like to get these. I'd love Doomsday Clock, love Watchmen. It'd be kind of cool to get like all the Watchmen stuff just to have it. So yeah, that was cool. Let's get rid of these now. Too many comics. Because wait, there's more. This is where Breen's going to pick up his interest, and he can start telling me things about the books. Now, these are not the best condition, but they're free, so who's going to complain? This is definitely a reader copy, but I thought it was cool. Brave and the Bold, number 164, featuring Batman and Hawkman. So I was like, yeah, right on. I'll take that. And then Brave and the Bold 167, featuring Batman and Blackhawk. So that was a cool cover. I like that one. So don't know anything about Brave and the Bold. Don't know anything about old school DC. But I was like, let me check out these old issues. He also had a Brave and the Bold 176 featuring Batman and Swamp Thing. So that was a cool. They always have really cool covers. These feel like old classic books. And Breen right now is like, that's because they are. And then we got Batman 307. So that's interesting. And then we've got Batman 326. This one kind of has a goofy cover. And I don't know actually who did the interiors or anything, because in the old days they didn't put those on the cover, right? So I don't know who the artist. I can look it up. Of course, I can open these up, but I haven't paid attention yet. And then Batman 565, which is much newer. This is 80s, I'm guessing. And this is one, of course, they did start putting names. So this is Doug Munch and Gene Colan. That's Detective Comics, actually. And then the last issue is Justice League America 178. Kind of an interesting cover here. And there we go. So I got some old books for free. I'm sure that none of them are worth anything. Most of them aren't even really in that great condition. But it's cool for free books. And some people who like the old books and who are around reading those times, maybe they can put in the comments which one you liked, why I should pay attention to it and read it. And that's that. Let's get on to actual new comic book day. All right, new comic book day is always exciting. Really enjoy going down and get the new books. As always, show your receipts, because the SJWs don't believe we actually buy comics. I'm trying to keep my spending down to $25 a week. I've been going over a little bit. This week I bought, you can see that box over there. So I bought a new box. So it was a little bit more. Plus I had to pick up Daredevil from last week. But I had a $25 gift card, so I only spent $9 in actuality. Kind of worked out. So we're going to start off in Independence this week. Birthright, number 42. This is Joshua Williamson. He's the guy writing Flash. And Batman Superman. He's been writing this Image title now for a while. It's ongoing. I am a sucker for ongoing titles. If you give me a good monthly title that's going to go for at least a couple of years, hopefully longer. Birthright now is what, on year 4? Like, that's fantastic. Actually, it's probably longer because they go on hiatuses. And I'm okay with the hiatuses. I don't need to spend money every month. Like, I'm already backlogged on comics, so I don't care if you go on a 3-month hiatus so you can take a vacation or get caught up or do whatever you need to do. I'm good. I urge you guys, check out Birthright, the first trade paperback. I did an episode of the Ash and Bat show. You can go back and find in the channel history where we did the Birthright trade paperback if you're too lazy to read it. This is phenomenal. It was so good because we featured, what we did is we featured a story arc every show. And we did this one episode, and I was so enamored. I was so in love with what they were, that first trade, that I went and bought all the whole series. I just went and bought the run. And I love collecting this. I love that every month I get to look forward to a book, and it's going on and on. And there you go. So, yeah, that's it with the independents. Let's move on to Marvel. Now, this is actually from last week. Well, actually 2 weeks ago. I'd missed Daredevil 18, but they had pulled it off the wall for me and put it in my thing. So it was in my pull box. I came in this week and picked up the new Daredevil 19. This starts the new story arc. I haven't read this, obviously, yet, but I read 18. It's fantastic. Leaves off with a big cliffhanger. Everything's been building up since Daredevil issue 1. There's been sort of the slow burn. And it's not slow burn in the sense that it's slow, like, story-wise, that you're bored. There's a lot of things going on. Matt Murdock has quit being Daredevil. I think it was issue 4 or 5 where Spider-Man, like, puts him down. He's basically, Spider-Man tells him, like, you're done. And that might sound cheesy and dumb to you, but the issue was so well done. And seeing Spider-Man confront Daredevil that way it just worked. Let me just say that, it just worked. So, and it's been a ride so far. Checchetto's back as the artist, and I'm very much looking forward to. This is one of probably the top 3 books that I look forward to picking up. So put this on your radar. Check it out. Daredevil's great. I normally don't like these special covers. I like the artist who did the interiors do the cover, but I praise Marvel for at least being consistent. They do the same art style, the same artist on every single cover. So if you buy the A covers, every single one, it has a nice uniform look, and it really works for the series. Moving on to DC, we get Justice League Odyssey. Dan Abnett doing a solid job. We get a beautiful Starfire cover here. What else can I say? It's like, if you like cosmic stories and books, this should be the book for you. If you're an old Titans fan, might want to cross over. This is one of the better books at DC. It's solid. It's worth checking out. Also, then there's the main Justice League book, which I am behind on. I have not read any, but in Venditti we trust. I am absolutely 100% confident. Venditti has never done anything bad. So I'm just stockpiling these. I'll get to them, and I'll have a nice binge. And I'm looking forward to that. So if you're not reading Justice League, issue 40 is where he took over. It's a good jumping on point. I really like Scott Snyder's run, so I would say go from number 1. But some people are like, Scott Snyder's too, whatever. Venditti. In Venditti we trust, right? Moving on, Batman. It's so nice to be able to pull a Batman issue up and be like, yay, and be excited. Like, remember how long it was where it was just like, oh God, it's another Tom King Batman. Like, I was literally just buying Batman and not reading it because it was Tom King. I was like, I'm just not interested. But I'm a Batman collector, and like I just was riding out the storm. And now it's over, and like we're what, 5 issues in to Tynan's run, and he's doing a pretty good job. And now, Jorge Jimenez is taking over the art. Well, at least for this issue. One of my favorite artists currently working today. I love his Justice League stuff. I so much miss Super Sons with his art in there. And finally, last but not least, for this week's pull, normally I put this first, but it's a special issue. We got Flash 750. And yes, it's a 750. I know there's some naysayers out there, Ingleton, that like to mock DC for, not being, it's not really 750th issue. It is. In my mind, in my opinion, it is. DC didn't cancel. They just started the numbering at New 52. And then they went through and the New 52 failed. They were like, that's dumb. And now Flash might be a little bit different. I'm actually thinking about Action and Detective Comics, and I'm making an excuse for it. Flash is a little bit different because there's multiple volumes. They actually started the numbering over again on Rebirth for them. It's a little bit less forgivable, but the series didn't get canceled, then brought back later, and then it was just the numbering start over. So those issues really were the next issue. It's 750 consecutive issues, at least as far as I'm aware. If I'm making a mistake on this, tell me where I'm wrong. I know for sure, at least with Detective and Action Comics, that was the way. Flash is a staple. What was this from? 1941 when this started? Flash, if I got my dates right. I'm not sure. There's a variant cover for every decade like normal. I thought since this is an anniversary issue, going back and getting the cover that is the original decade felt the most fitting, and I just like the aesthetic of it. I like the Jay Garrett Flash. I love the Mercury helmet. Just everything about this just screamed really cool and classy. It's nice and thick. It's $7.99, not the $9.99 like Detective Comics. And hopefully it's all good inside. I don't know, but I pick up Flash every week, so of course I had to pick up this one. You guys, that's it. Tell me what you think. Let's see if I can spread these out. And tell me what you think is going to be the best pull of the week. What's the worst? What should I be getting? What are you getting that you really love? I like when you guys put your polls in the comments. I love seeing what other people are getting. I like kind of just getting an overview, reading lots of different, and I can see like patterns. If I see like, wow, everyone's, getting Daredevil, that says something to me. Of course I'm getting it too, but you know what I'm saying? There's really no trash here. So Forky, I don't get trash anymore. It's like Forky doesn't have a job. He just gets to relax. I'm going to put Stan over here on his boy Daredevil. It's so good. And now that Chichetto's back, this guy Fornes or however you pronounce it, he did an okay job. His work is very kind of like a poor man's Dave Mazzucchelli. It has more of a simple classical style to it, like Mazzucchelli did. Now Mazzucchelli is a master, but this guy, it kind of was evoking the same feel. Now, if you remember, Mazzucchelli did the best Daredevil run of all time, in my opinion, Born Again. So having a guy that evokes a similar style and aesthetic appeal is good, especially in today's day and age of Marvel. I don't have high expectations, but Chichetto is the ace that I love. I'm just babbling at this point. I love these comics. I feel really good now. Every week I'm pulling a smaller list of comics or a smaller, pull of comics. It's tight. It's concise. I'm not going like, oh, man, back in the days when I was pulling both Superman titles and Batman, just every week I just felt like, oh, why my list was bloated, and it was your pull list should be nothing but gems to you, right? So tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about what's going on. Whatever you want to say in the comments, just keep it not too messed up. And I will see you again next time. Thank you so much for watching.